Hello, and a warm and luminous welcome to all of the seekers of this world. I am Ariana, the host of this channel, the Golden Thread Sanctuary. Which seekers? I invite all the seekers of the real self, the real you, the real me, to come and share this space where we have information, conversation, experiences about what does it mean to have an existence center on our real self, on our soul, on our essence, on our higher self, on our deeper self. There's so many terms for this, but don't let that confuse you. As soon as you're centered there and you can feel it, that's all that is needed. Today's video is a special video. We're going to share a parable together, and the parable is called the Magic Lake Parable. The parable is of my own creation, but I wouldn't say that it's Ariana's creation. It's my higher self creation. It comes from the deep waters of my own magic lake, as you're going to hear in this beautiful story. But first, I would like to exchange a few words about what is a parable and why have I chosen to go with a parable on this video. Parables, if you don't know, are short stories that convey beyond the imagery and the story told inner hidden wisdom. So in order to perceive the reason for the parable to exist, we have to inhabit the sanctuary of our own hearts, because not exactly with the mind we can understand what's being told. Most parables are not too complicated, but there's something in there that doesn't quite make sense with reality, and is absolutely on purpose, because like in this journey, this spiritual journey inwards, there are no words to describe what's happening inside us. Same with the parables. Parables convey images, words, characters, places, and not necessarily making a lot of sense, because it's the rational mind the one that's going to be perceiving it at first, but the whole intention is really deeper than that. We have to transcend beyond the words to be able to inhabit our inner self, our real self. Same with the parable. So take it this way. Listen to it. There will be images through the reading of the parable as well. But also open up your mind, open up your heart, open up your whole being. And through awareness, try to capture what you feel, what you perceive. Where does that resonate in your body, and what happens while you receive this parable? Then the journey will begin. Just then, after you have received the parable and you have gained awareness on what's happening inside the parable. So, parables are short stories that use characters, images, and convey a deeper meaning. And they have been used for thousands of years. And they have been used for many cultures. So that means they are absolutely timeless. And although they occur in places like this one in a magic lake, this space doesn't really mean anything. It's just a context to create the wisdom outwards so that we can perceive it. Having said all of that, just a quick reminder that we have seen parables through books like the Bible, of course, but there are beautiful parables on Sufi stories and on Buddhist traditions. Of course, they have so many. And in tales, folk tales from the very ancient and traditional cultures, the Middle Eastern cultures, from Africa, from India, from the indigenous cultures of North America and other parts of the world like Australia. So it's endless. But they do have an attractiveness. They are like little gems, like little jewels. There's something inside them that attracts our attention and attracts our listening. In this video, my invitation is to receive it that way and to get your attraction inwards toward your inner being, especially the space of your heart, but not necessarily only in your heart, also all through your body. Let the ripples of the words, the images, and what is happening in the story speak to you like no words can do it. I can't wait to share this parable with you. But first, I would like to set up my intention on sharing this parable with you. May this parable awaken a spark within your inner flame, a beautiful spark that helps you remember, that helps you listen beyond your ears and your mind, that helps you see beyond the images that are going to be portrayed in the parable, and especially that it helps you remember who you really are and the gifts, the talents, and the jewels that lie inside your beautiful being. And so be it. Enjoy the parable. I'll see you at the end.
The Parable of the Magic Lake. In the heart of a quiet valley, cradled by the whispering trees, soft winds, and a mysterious golden glowing light, there was a lake known among the townspeople as the Magic Lake. Legends said that the lake held hidden treasures, treasures only visible to those who had touched true wisdom, peace, joy, and love. Though no present adult had ever claimed to see them, children often gathered near its banks, their hearts full of curiosity and wide-eyed wonder. One sunlit afternoon, a group of children approached the shimmering water. With laughter bubbling from their lips and excitement dancing in their steps, they waded eagerly into the lake, splashing and swimming, their eyes darting in every direction, searching for the treasures they had heard about in stories. They dove deep, stirred the waters with their kicking feet, reached into the silt, and turned over stones. But the more they moved, the cloudier the water became. Nothing could be seen, only swirling mud and murky waters. Frustration soon crept into their voices. "I can't see anything. Where are those treasures? Oh, this lake is just a gigantic, boring lake." Then, quietly, from the forest path, came another child. He looked unlike any they had seen before, his presence calm like an owl, his eyes luminous like a panther. He wore soft, clear robes that didn't seem to wrinkle or stain, and his smile was steady, kind, and deep like the roots of an ancient tree. He said nothing at first. He simply stood at the edge of the lake, observing the chaos with a kind of loving patience. One of the children shouted, "Hey you, clean boy, help us find the treasures!" The luminous boy stepped forward and, with a voice like gentle wind through the leaves, replied, "If you wish to see the treasures of the lake, you must first become still. You must stop trying, stop reaching. Only when the waters are calm can the truth be revealed." The children burst into laughter. "Just be still? That's so boring." Another one said, Come on, whatever your name is. Get in the water. Help us dig. The group of children ignored the enigmatic foreigner and continued their fruitless searching inside the water. A few minutes later, one small girl, the youngest at heart, left the group. She stepped out of the lake and walked quietly toward the luminous boy. "Will you please show me the way?" she asked, her voice very soft. The boy nodded and answered, "Come, follow me." He led her to a quieter part of the lake where the trees leaned in close like guardians and the waters looked crystal clear. He picked up a small round floater from the shore and handed it to her. "Do you know how to float, dear one?" he asked. She lowered her gaze and shook her head with humility. "Then I will help you," the boy said. They both entered the lake. The waters, disturbed, looked cloudy around them. He placed the floater gently under her, and together they waded into the lake. The girl lay back, her body still, supported by the floater. Her breath slowed. The water around her calmed, and the lake, undisturbed, grew clearer and clearer. Minutes passed, and suddenly her eyes widened. Beneath her, glowing in soft golden hues, she saw shapes begin to emerge. Shining stones, symbols carved in light, blooming flowers that dance just beneath the surface. Colorful fish everywhere, all sorts of marvelous water creatures. Treasures, real treasures. But more than that, meaningful treasures. As she looked closer, each shape seemed to reflect something within her. A memory, a gift, the image of beings and places she had only seen in her inner vision before. A feeling of joy, of deep knowing, an endless opening inside her heart, an unexplained feeling of endless love. "I see it, I feel it, I carry it," she whispered. "I see everything." Her voice and eyes overwhelmed through the knowing experience. The luminous boy smiled. The lake mirrors the soul. When we are still, we remember, we know. Legend says that the children noticed a glowing golden light surrounding the part of the lake where the boy and the girl had gone before. One by one, the other children grew curious. Slowly, they came out of the splashing and noise. Each was then greeted by the luminous boy, who gave them a floater. Each was invited to float, quiet down, and to breathe. And each, in their own time, began to see not only the treasures of the lake, but the treasures of themselves, their talents, their callings, their missions, their dreams. Some saw music in colors. Some heard music through images. Some saw stories blooming like lotuses. Some saw healing hands, wise hearts, loving caregivers, harmony creators, peaceful mediators, or deep, silent courage. When we cease to resist the flow, when we allow each ripple to pass without clinging or fear, we begin to see, not with our eyes, but with our soul. The lake teaches us what flows in oscillation is passing and without. What is real is within. And none of them wanted to take the treasures anymore, for they understood now that the lake's gifts were not to be grasped, but remembered. They were reflections of what was already inside them. From that day forward, the children often returned, not to play wildly or dig for hidden things, but to float, to be still, to listen, and to share the joy of being part of so much wonder. And sometimes, just sometimes, the luminous boy would appear again, his whole being sparkling like stars at night, his smile like peace, his heart fully open. He would come and watch the waters ripple with the unfolding of souls, surrounded by golden threads. The moral of this parable is that stillness is neither empty, boring, nor useless. Stillness is the great mirror of the soul. Our sanctuary both protects and generates the stillness. We just have to follow the golden threads. As soon as the waters within us are calm, we see not only the treasures of the world, but the sacred gifts already planted within and around us. Let this parable rest within you.
So, what did you think about this beautiful parable? I would like to do some short reflections because I find myself that there are a lot of treasures hidden inside this parable, as the kids found a lot of treasures hidden under the waters of the lake. And although you are supposed to arrive to your own conclusions, and I do respect that, please do so, I will still like to reflect on a few that I see. These are the ones that I want to share with you. If you see these ones or other ones, that is absolutely fine. Perhaps you see way many than what I see. And that will be wonderful and lovable. So, the first gift that I perceive in this parable is stillness. In our current society, where we move so fast and we're so oriented in the doing and action, stillness is underrated, undervalued, and non-appreciated. But there is a big gift in stillness, and stillness is neither boring nor non-productive. It is extremely necessary to find our center, to come from that inner source of endless and unlimited power. In truth, when we stop and we find through stillness our inner source, our inner center, we are faster in the outer world. We have full potential of creativity, full access to knowledge, and is endless. So it's a little bit of an investment for a better reason, deeper and more profound. It's like sleeping for us humans. We do need to recharge. We need to recover our bodies. Our biology requires the sustainability of everything we have done in one day through our sleep hours. Stillness creates that separation chance between the biology, the body, the physical life, and the inner source, the inner life that is sustaining our physical life. So, I would like you to reflect on this. What if you bring stillness to your life? And I do know by my own experience that this is not an easy task to do, especially when we are not trained. Our minds go on and on and on onto all sorts of things that don't create stillness. Remember the children. Remember how they said no to the luminous boy. They wanted the treasure, and the more they searched, the more they moved, the more they tried, the least they found them. That's one big powerful message in here. The second one is more subtle. It's about our gifts and talents. What kinds of things we've come equipped into this present life from our higher self that we haven't found yet, that we haven't incorporated into our lives. That will come through stillness. So when you find the stillness and you center into your real self and you touch base into that inner power that is inside you, you're going to see your gifts and talents line up with a tremendous quality. Those are the things you're good at naturally. You don't have to produce an effort. They come out of you easily. And we all have different talents, so I cannot guide you into which talents you particularly have. It's your own inner search. But once you find them, you will realize they were there your whole life. You just have to gain awareness on those particular gifts and talents and bring them to the outer world with the easiness and the comfortability that comes from being your own inner gifts and talents. But there is more. I also see in this story the value of clarity. Clarity and stillness are not the same thing. So stillness is the calmness that we produce, the clarity of those waters when they are not perturbed, when the mind is not incessantly producing thoughts and comparing things and judging and bringing us back to the past, actually the past is here in the video, or to the future. That creates the stillness, will bring all of that to calm down. But clarity comes after stillness. The waters do clear down so that the kids could actually look at the treasures. When there is clarity, we're not confused. We know what to do in the exact time that is needed, what to do. And I'm pretty sure everybody would love to have that. So it's the consequence of stillness, but it's not the same as stillness. But I also see more treasures, more things hidden under this parable. One of them is that we must ask for help when we think that somebody around us could provide that help for us. If we don't ask, we might not be helped. Sometimes people offer their help without being asked. But I would say it's our own right to recognize that we're stuck somewhere and we need help from somebody that is showing us the path, that is showing us the way. So with being able to ask for help comes a beautiful quality, humility. The humility to recognize that we belong to a longer group of humans and that our story is mingled with everybody else's stories, and that if somebody else is showing me a light, I can go and ask for help. I love this one. I love that treasure. But I also love this other one. Everything has a divine timing. Everything has the perfect time for things to occur. And in this story, we can perceive that when the children said no and remained playing in the water, after a while, something called them inside and said, I want to see what's happening there. There is a glowing light there. Something attracted their attention. And then their time came to step into the search for treasures in a different way. Not by searching, not by removing the waters, not by lifting every stone from the lake, but by going and receiving wisdom from the luminous boy. And I will leave it at that. Who is the luminous boy in this story? I think that's too precious. I don't want to spoil. You won't hear any of my reflections in that direction. But I would love to hear it in your comments. So you can please comment at some point when that comes your way. I also see this other beautiful gift, and it's the gift of intuition. That girl, the girl that is referred into the story, is defined as the youngest at heart. She perceives an inner call, an intuitive nudge that says, I want him to show me the way. And then she stepped out of the water by their own decision. And then she went and she asked for help. She was the first one asking for help. The boys asked for help for different reasons. They already saw results. They already saw and noticed something is happening there. That's valid. But I love the gift that this little girl brings to the story. She stepped out of the lake following an intuitive nudge. Nothing in the outer reality revealed treasures or that the luminous boy was right about anything. But she followed that inner nudge. I would love to make many programs on intuition, and I'm sure they will come. If you actually knew how many I have already lined up to come your way, you'll be amazed. And I'm sure there will be several on intuition, not even one. But what I would like to say about intuition is that we all have the voice of intuition inside ourselves. But it's a strong voice, but at the same time it's nuanced and quiet. And it cannot compete with the mental noises. So we'll go back to the first gift in a round circle here. We need stillness to be able to hear the voice of the intuition. And our intuition speaks in so many languages. It speaks through our bodies, it speaks through our emotions, it speaks through verbal expressions inside our inner ear. Nobody out there is speaking, but we can hear. It speaks through images. It speaks through hunches. Something makes you stand up and follow that person and follow this program and open this YouTube channel. You don't know what that is yet, but something attracted you, and then there you clicked, and then you have found this program. That is your intuition. There is way more about this. Intuition is extremely powerful and it speaks to us all the time, but we will get there in due course. What else? Another beautiful gift of this parable, I think, is the respect for the time that others need to do or not do their things. And with this, I'm going to reflect on how adults are treated in this parable. They say at the time this story is revealed that no adult had ever found treasures on the lake. Remember, this is a story. And what's behind this story is that everybody has their own path. And perhaps your whole life will pass by without you finding your real self. That is sad from my perspective, but it's something to be respected, because only you can step into your inner journey and find your inner self. Nobody can do it for you. It is your own journey. But the beauty that I find in this parable and the way this is told to us is that it is to be respected, because many of us that have stepped into this journey, the inner journey and the journey of the real self, find that with desperation we want to reach everybody, We want to reach all the ones that haven't found this treasure and this beauty. But soon enough we learn that is to be respected when others decide not to step into the lake, not even get closer to it. I find that that's really, really something to respect and to admire. Even with the best intentions that we have to always help everybody around us. Anyways, let's think of another one. I think I could probably come up with another one as well. Oh yes, the gift of innocence, the gift of wonder. And how is that in this parable? The way the treasures are treated in this parable. Kids have a tremendous imagination, and this is why I chose kids as the main characters of this parable. But we all have a child inside ourselves. I get touchy because my child is very powerful and it speaks to me a lot, and it's very beautiful. So even if you don't remember how you were as a child, it is still there. So get into that stillness, receive the beauty of this parable, and connect to your inner child. And through that connection with your inner child, innocence, wonder, and joy automatically will show up into your path. So do you see any other gifts inside this parable? I think this is as far as I want to share at this point. I also would like to read a prayer to you. So I will do so, and my hope is that in receiving the parable, the comments, music, everything that is in here, that you do like the girl, that you notice where help is around yourself, and ask for guidance if you haven't found it yourself on how to find your inner treasures. There are lots of spiritual teachers in the world right now. We live in a time in which we have access to videos and books and downloads and all sorts of things. I know, yes, there are many schools as well, and it's hard to choose because there's a lot of information. But remember the lake, it gets clearer. The waters get clearer as we come down. And with that clarity, you will know how to choose. You will know who to follow or who to ask for help till you don't need anything else anymore. Because once you find your center, you have found your power. I will continue sharing more parables with you into my channel. I have several I have already received in my field. I've worked on them a little bit, but not to completion. So whenever they are ready, I will share them. And just one more thing about parables, that although the characters, the places, and the stories change, what we receive is pure wisdom wrapped in imagery and wonder. So please go beyond the words, go beyond the characters, go beyond the lake, and then you will find its treasures. Regarding the music, you are listening with this parable video. Again, this music I composed because I don't actually notate it. I work it through sound. I created under the words that I'm saying here, the words when I read the parable, and I do that process under a channeling state myself. So I am not constructing it with my mind, I am creating it with my higher self embodied in myself. There are codes in the music, so if you enjoy it, please look at the music outside of the program as well. There will be a meditation related to this topic. I still don't know the name of it. Maybe the Magic Lake will be part of it. I don't know yet. I haven't created that meditation. But when I have it, you will see a link somewhere, one of the part of the screen or in the description box. And again, you will have music under that meditation. And I think that's the one I'm going to share rather than the one in this program, because this program has a lot of ups and downs. So the music that has a lot of ups and downs is not that great for meditation. So I haven't decided that part yet, but I wanted to share that with you. Know that you're always welcome to come to this channel for food for your soul, for food for your inner self, to your food for your real self. If you like what you're receiving, please help me share this wisdom and this wonderful news with anybody that you think might be interested into this. No need to push it, but you will also help indirectly by subscribing to the channel, by liking, by activating the notification bell to know when new programs are coming. As I've said many times, I'm a very busy musician, so this I do because it's lots of fun for me and it's my joy to do that, and I have the desire to share all of these wonderful things. And also you can help me by writing a comment in the description box, any comment. This is how the algorithm works for YouTube, so we're not doing anything that anybody else doesn't do out there already, but any of those little things will actually help for any other person that is out there in the world, like the kids inside the lake that didn't quite follow the call of the luminous boy, but at some point a light pointed somewhere and there they went for what they were looking for. So this can help that process as well. If the video is circulating, more people will see the light that emanates from this information, and the chances are that their own time will show up and they will click into it and they will receive it. Thank you for your help. Here's my prayer for you to enter the path of finding your real self and remembering your inner power. Prayer for stillness and inner treasure gathering. Dear light that lives in quiet places, help us slow down and listen, not just with our ears, but with our hearts. Let our minds glow calm like the surface of this magic lake, so we can see the beauty that was always there. Reminds us that our gifts are not lost, they are waiting. Remind us that we are already enough, already whole, already glowing. Thank you for all the treasures, for the treasures of kindness, love, generosity, for the treasures of peace, hope, empathy, compassion, joy, gratitude, and wisdom. May we hold them gently, and may we share them freely. And may we always remember the magic we seek lives within. I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful revelation through the parable of the magic lake. And I now say goodbye to you with lots of love. See you in the next program.